Hello, everybody. I'm Henrik Kronqvist, and I'm the Dean of the Argyros College of Business and Economics at Chapman University in Southern California. And today we're super excited to be able to talk to Zsigmond Balla. He's a graduate from our school class of 2020, and he's the Chief Revenue Officer at his family business, which is Ziglift Material Handling.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tori Wynn. I'm the class of 2026 of the Argyros College and Business of Economics. And let's get to know our interviewee a little bit more. Let's jump into the first question. And the first question is, being a first generation American, what were your hardest challenges? Moreover, how did those challenges shape who you are today, even at Chapman?
Some great questions. First off, thank you so much for having me on here today. It's a true pleasure to connect with my alumni. So, as I look back at being a first generation American, I think I faced some very unique challenges in that my parents didn't grow up, of course, in this American society, right? So there was difficulties in that for my being able to relate to my parents because they didn't have this foundation here and they didn't understand what the US academic system was like. So for me and my brother, it was really trailblazing our way and really navigating that for the first time for our family, especially as first generation, even college students. A lot of our family, even back in Hungary, never even went to university or college. So this was very unique for us, and I'm very thankful that we had that opportunity. But it was really just learning day by day and just making the most of it.
So you're now working for a family business that your father started, created, and built up to become very successful. So when did you know that you would be part of the family business? Is that in college that emerged, or was it before college? What was that process like?
So yeah, another great question. I grew up in the family business. I don't remember anything different from a very early age. I remember even back in elementary school, when I had days off, I would, be willing to go with my dad to work and I would just sit beside him. There was times when I was so young, I really had nothing to do but just sit there, listen to calls, listen to see the emails that he was sending, be a part of the meetings that he was. And I think, thank God that just naturally built a passion for me. And I was fully immersed and fully, exposed to what was going on in the family business. And that just really led, to a natural passion and desire for what I do today.
That's really great. Speaking of your family business, let's jump more into the details of it. What is Ziglift Material Handling, and what do you enjoy most about what you do?
Uh, so Ziglift Material Handling, we are one of the nation's largest new and used turnkey warehouse storage solutions providers. So whether we have a customer that is in need of one bay of storage in their warehouse or up to 50, 60, 70,000 pallet positions of racking, we have customers that come to us and we provide services that is all the way from the design, engineering, procurement, installation, and permitting of large warehouses, kind of like in the background behind me. So we'll take a blank and empty warehouse and we'll make it all the way that it is up to specs and making sure that our customers can have the most optimized storage solution within that warehouse. And that doesn't just include static storage. We integrate automation, conveyance, forklifts, anything you really need in a warehouse to have a turnkey warehouse operation.
Going back a little bit, Zygmunt, to working in a family business, which comes with some unique, perhaps challenges, perhaps opportunities, perhaps both of those,
Sure.
because one of them being that, hey, your manager may actually be your father or your mother, right? So, how to think about that, and what have those challenges and opportunities been like for you?
So I think back and I have nothing but gratitude for the experiences. Sure, there are pros and cons. For example, the pros, I think, especially in my college years, what was unique about my college experience, I went to school 2 days a week. Typically, that's how I set my schedule up, and I was working 3 days a week. So those were very transformative years in my life and in my career because I was so involved in the family business, and I would often take off even class and go on these trips to go visit our customers. And those were just such strong, even bonding moments with my father as we traveled around the country and just really built our relationship and just created lifelong memories. So I'm forever grateful for that. I think back at when COVID hit. I was in Nashville actually because there was a tornado that had hit at that time, and then just everything was collapsing all at once. And I remember talking to Mario Leone. I said, listen, we have customers that are in big need. They just tornado. I'm leaving. So that's just the reality of it. And I'm very thankful for that. Made some amazing memories, and that it. And I never even had a chance after that to go back into the classroom. So amazing memories with, being a part of the family business. I think just the cons are, what seemingly is just blurred lines between a work and life balance, right? So it's, as you alluded to it, I've got my father and I've got my boss, right? So those are the same individual. And am I talking to my father or am I talking to my boss? And I think that's a very important thing to understand, and it can at times be a little difficult to navigate. But we have such a great relationship that it never is an issue. I think it's just understanding, in that scenario, who am I talking to?
As a quick follow-up to that, Zsigmond, would be, I mean, it's amazing you have this great relationship professionally and personally. Do you think that there is sort of any secret to that, and may vary from one person to another person? But
Sure.
what do you think are some of the things that you have done that is, behind that success?
I think it's just a mutual respect, right? So I'm forever grateful to my parents that they really afforded me this opportunity and that they threw me into the deep end and I had no choice but to learn, right? And because of that, I've just had such a dear respect for the business my parents have built, and how my father has spearheaded that. And I think it's as I've gotten older and as my opinion has carried more weight in his eyes, I think it's just continuing to have that mutual respect. So we have conversations all the time about how he may see something, how I may see something on a deal or whatever it may be, and we just always have that respect at the very core of it, right? Because if that respect is there, then it just really continues to grow and foster that relationship, and it just makes things all the better. And yeah, I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, that's really rare to have, especially that respect between a parent and a child. It's very different in the aspect of a family business. Speaking of business in itself, what are some pieces of advice that you would give to upcoming working generation students? Like Chapman in itself, I know you were talking about working and doing school at the same time. What do you recommend in terms of internships or maybe jumping into jobs?
Yeah, so I think at the core of it, as a believer, and this is a biblical standard of mine. I think it's this principle of stewardship. So we all have time, talent, and treasure that I know and believe that we must all steward on a daily basis. So whether it's a customer opportunity that comes across my desk, a new project, whatever it may be, I feel like it's my job and our team's job to steward that opportunity and to make the most of it, right? So along those lines, right, with this idea of talent, I think each and every one of us are gifted with a talent, and with that talent comes a passion. And I think it's so important, whether you're in college right now or whether you're just getting out of college and just entering the workforce, find what you're really passionate about. And as cliche as that is, understand what role you're passionate about. Maybe you don't even know that. Try and understand what type of work you'd like to do. If you don't even know that, understand what kind of company you're passionate about, right? So you may be a big, sports fan. Maybe you want to get into into the sports industry, but you may not know exactly what that may look like in the back office. So just really try and find what you are passionate about and just see where that leads you. I think for me, as I've been fully immersed into the family business, I've just naturally found where my passion is, and that's really on the anything revenue related, which is on the sales and procurement side. So I love to be customer facing. I love to build relationships with our customers, with our vendors, and just to really understand the full picture of how that looks like for Ziglift and how we can continue to grow the most valuable relationships that we have. And I'm very thankful for that. But I think the core of that is understanding what am I passionate about and what are you passionate about, and see where your heart leads you there. And I think if you follow down that path, I think you know, the money will follow, but the most important thing is that you have to find the joy in what you do, and typically the joy will come from what you're passionate about.
So glad to see that you have found pretty early in your career your passion for revenue, for sales, business development, and building those relationships. You know, going back to college a little bit, are there some classes or something that you learned in college that you found to be particularly helpful in your role so far in business?
Absolutely. I think back to two specific professors and their courses. So Tim Frenzel and Mario Leone, I'm forever grateful for their courses. Tim, you know, he was an amazing professor and really taught me so many things about finance and you know, even really helped sharpen my Excel skills to where they are today. I mean, Excel is at the core of what I do today. So you know, I'm forever grateful for him and how he pushed us in that class to make sure that we are up to, you know, up to par on that. Same thing with Mario Leone. I think his capstone course was just truly amazing. You know, it's so important in my opinion in, you know, what the great thing about Chapman is a lot of those professors have real world experience. And I think the most important way that you can learn is not necessarily out of a textbook, but from real world experience. I mean, the things that Mario went through at Fiat, at Ingram Micro, and all these other organizations, I mean, all of that just carried into the classroom. And he was just always so forthcoming. And we often even had, you know, conversations about my family business and how that would apply to what he had learned in the past. So, you know, I'm so thankful for that, and I think Chapman is just such a great school for that because you know there's a lot of that talent in the teaching pool, and it just really you need to really embrace that.
Well, it's been an amazing conversation today. And we have been talking to Zsigmond Balla, who is a graduate from our school, class of 2020, and who has quickly launched his career in the family business called Ziglift. Thank you so much for your time today. And we look forward to having you back on our beautiful campus sometime soon to talk to our students about your experiences, your success, and how they can prepare themselves for the future in the corporate world.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your guys' time and look forward to coming back on campus.